Precious viewers, welcome to our show, The Scientific Benefits of Meditation and Prayer. At times of uncertainty and stress, more people have turned to meditation and prayer to restore emotional balance or connect to God. A 2017 survey shows that the percentage of U.S. adults who practice mindfulness, mantra-based, and spiritual meditation tripled between 2012 and 2017, from 4% to more than 14%. Half of the U.S. citizens prayed during the COVID pandemic in the past 3 years, and the world has also been praying for the people of Ukraine, or Ukraine, since the start of the Russian invasion. Despite their long histories, meditation and prayer have begun to transform into something scientific only in recent decades. Numerous studies emerge in the fields of psychology, behavioral medicine, and neurosciences, attesting to the visible benefits of meditation and mindfulness practices. Psychological and behavioral therapy are quick to identify the effectiveness of meditation and mindfulness. Meditation helps to decrease stress, improve concentration, reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, lessen pain and insomnia, and generate a sense of happiness. Neuroscience, on the other hand, set out to explain the reasons. How can something as simple as holding a yoga posture or doing 20 minutes of sincere prayer achieve so many wonderful things? Is it possible to map meditation experiences in the brain? After she started to learn yoga, Dr. Sarah Lazar made meditation the topic of her first neuroscientific research. It is known that repeated activities such as juggling can change the brain. How about meditation? She wondered. In 2011, her team at Harvard Medical School found that meditation led to the thickening of regional brain gray matter. Her refined follow-up research shows that changes in the thickened areas of the brain mirror the psychological improvements of participants.
The first study we did, we recruited a bunch of people from the Boston area, and these were not monks or meditation teachers. These were just average Joes who, on average, practice meditation about 30 or 40 minutes a day. And we put them in the scanner, and we compared them to a group of people who are demographically matched, but who don't meditate. And what we found is this, that there were indeed several regions of the brain that had more gray matter in the meditators compared to the controls. One of the regions I'm going to point out to you is here in the front of the brain. It's an area that's important for working memory and executive decision-making. And what was interesting was that in this one region, the 50-year-old meditators had the same amount of cortex as the 25-year-olds, suggesting that meditation practice may actually slow down or prevent the natural age-related decline in cortical structure.
Not only does meditation change the brain, so do prayers. Strong evidence shows that prayer decreases anxiety and stress, enables inner peace, and even increases one's ability to endure pain. Sincere prayer is a type of mindfulness. Dr. Michael Bain, director of the Penn Program for Mindfulness, said mindfulness changes the neural connections in the brain.
Mindfulness isn't just about relaxing. By changing the neural connections and activity in the brain, you actually change what happens in the whole body.
Often, sincere prayer can be experienced as deep meditation, as in the case of Dr. Scott McDermott, Reverend Minister of the United Methodist Church. He has been praying for 1 to 2 hours a day for 35 years. I begin at 5:30, he told Barbara Bradley Haggerty, an American journalist and author. My study is down in my basement. I have a recliner there. I walk down, turn the lights on, and say, God, it's just me. I just want to spend some time with you. and I sit in that chair, and we began to have a conversation. At one time, Dr. McDermott saw fire dancing on his eyelids. I felt God said to me, "You be the oil, and I'll be the flame." Then I began to feel waves of the Spirit flow through my body. The experience echoes that of ancient saints. Miss Haggerty became curious about what a scientist had to say about this. Compassionate viewers, welcome back to our show on the scientific benefits of meditation and prayer. Barbara Bradley Haggerty was inspired by Dr. McDermott's experience. She visited the lab of Dr. Andrew Newberg to witness the brain scanning of the Reverend Pastor during the peak of his prayer. Neuroscientist Dr. Newberg has pioneered studies of the brain activities of various religious individuals and is one of the leading people who coined the term neurotheology as a field of study. He finds that spiritual practices in general, including prayer and mantra-related practices, can profoundly transform the brain. In one of his projects, an older group of 20 who suffer from memory difficulty were taught a brief mantra-based prayer. They did it 12 minutes a day for 8 weeks, and after, tests indicated a 10 to 15% improvement in focus and memory. Through SPECT or single photon emission computerized tomography, Dr. Newberg identified specific areas of concentrated brain activities.
When you actually study what's happening in their brains as they are doing those things, what are you actually doing?
Well, we use a variety of different brain scanning techniques. Usually we're trying to look at the activity changes in the brain. We've done about over 200 people doing different types of practices. We actually either use an MRI machine to take pictures of the activity of their brain while they're doing the practice. We sometimes use something called single photon emission computed tomography or SPECT imaging, which also looks at the activity changes in the brain. And we can see that the patterns of activity that are different when the person is engaged in the prayer practice compared to when they're just at rest. What we're trying to show is a whole network of structures that seems to be activated when people engage these different kinds of practices. There are some very consistent kinds of changes that we have started to see when we look at what's going on in the brain of people when they engage these different types of spiritual practices.
Science has identified distinct functions of brain sections. While the frontal cortex is associated with speech, expression, or ocular movement, the prefrontal cortex connects with the executive power of decision-making and planning. On the other hand, the nucleus accumbens in the ventral striatum mediates emotion, motivation, and molecules of reward and contentment. In 2016, Dr. Michael Ferguson, then a PhD student, asked if different meditation studies end up singling out similar brain sections. The project he participated in scanned brain activities of devout members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as they feel the Spirit at the peak of their prayer.
The three areas of the brain that consistently demonstrated elevated activity were the frontal attention regions, the medial prefrontal cortex, and the nucleus accumbens, an area of the brain with an enriched supply of the reward molecule dopamine. This trinity of neural regions sketches what we can reasonably label as the neuro-spiritual system of Mormonism. The implications are profound. So many of the world's spiritual traditions report profound feelings of oneness with a transcendent source, often accompanied by an increased charitable disposition? Could it be that these cultural variations are all being supported by a common core of brain networks? For the first time in the history of contemplative philosophy and the sciences of the mind, we can answer these questions empirically by skillfully measuring brain activity with more temporal and spatial precision than we've ever been able to do.
Later studies addressed his question in another way. Do different meditation practices impact the brain differently? Answers to that question are likely to redefine the science of well-being. Science has found that the importance of meditation and prayer is not limited to relaxation, sound sleep, or a better mood, though those are welcoming results. Instead, meditation and prayer are essential because they visibly change our brain and sculpt our mind. An article published in Forbes magazine in 2015, 7 Ways Meditation Can Actually Change the Brain, identifies meditation and prayer as good tools to living a healthy mind and well-being in cognitive, therapeutical, and neurological senses. Some scientists put it more straightforwardly. They emphasize the transformative role of meditation and prayer in building a healthier human community and a compassionate world. To Dr. James Doty, MD, Professor of Neuroscience and founder and director of the Center for Compassion and Altruism Research at Stanford University, compassion is the source of psychological health and can be trained through meditation.
Studies have now shown that when you are compassionate, when you recognize the suffering of another, engage another, it has a profound effect on your blood pressure, your heart rate. It boosts your immune system and decreases those stress hormone levels down to baseline. And you have a sense of calmness. Your frontal executive control areas work better, which are associated with decision-making, productivity, and creativity. If I told you that I had a pill and had this profound effect on your physiology where you worked at your best and it allowed you to have purpose, clarity of mind, contentment, happiness, but the only thing that is required is that you sit in silence for 15 minutes and focus your intention on being compassionate. And when you do that, you will realize you no longer need the pill. And that is, in fact, all it takes. And we and others have created techniques that give you the tools to hack your brain for happiness and what I call transcendence.
Why can meditation and prayer cultivate compassion and kindness? It has to do with the work of brain waves. In 2004, a canonical study on Tibetan Buddhist monks led by Dr. Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin-Madison revealed that regular spiritual meditation generates strong brain waves that stay after meditation. We already know that EEG and MRI-based studies help map out specific brain activity sections during meditation. On the other hand, studies of brain waves observe the electrical currents that take place as messages transmit among neurons. Beta waves, for example, associate with our monkey mind, generating 60 ideas every minute and quickly lead to anxiety. theta, and alpha waves are most often observed in meditation and prayer, associated with the internalization of attention and the state of transcendence. With their higher frequency, gamma waves indicate intense concentration, great strides in inner development, and noticeably profound compassion.
What was stunning was that the Olympic level meditators, these are people who've done up to 62,000 lifetime hours of meditation, their brainwave shows gamma very strong all the time as a lasting trait, just no matter what they're doing. Science has never seen it before. When we ask them, for example, to do a meditation on compassion, their level of gamma jumps 700 to 800% in a few seconds. This has also never been seen by science.
Respected Buddhist monk Matthew Ricard, vegan, who shocked Dr. Davison with his off-the-chart gamma wave readings when focused on compassion, calls meditation the habit of happiness. He is dubbed the happiest man, as the neuroscientist identified the high level of activity in a part of his left prefrontal cortex as the source of ecstasy. He became vegan many years ago to remind us that compassion embraces not only humans but innocent animal people as well. He said, "The main reason is to spare others' life." This is not an extremist perspective. This is the most reasonable, compassionate point of view.
Vegan side effect. The angels also like to hang around you.
Conscientious viewers, we are going to pause briefly to pray for a benevolent vegan world. We will return shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Warning: sensitive images.
Compassionate viewers, welcome back to the concluding part of our series, The Scientific Benefits of Meditation and Prayer, Part 2 of 2. To neuroscientists, Dr. Davidson's discovery unlocks an unprecedented understanding of the plasticity of the brain's ability to transform itself in response to repeated actions is stronger and quicker than expected. As a result, meditation on compassion can therefore sculpt a healthy and compassionate mind. A science of compassion is thus named, which takes meditation for compassion as the key practice of well-being. Amazing, isn't it? The well-being of oneself is now scientifically found in one's compassion for others. Dr. Davidson said it was His Holiness Dalai Lama who years ago inspired him to facilitate neuroscientific studies of kindness and compassion and to create the future he hopes to see. He is by no means the only scientist holding that aspiration. In several public panels, Dr. Davidson further explains why we need meditation to transform the mind and achieve well-being. Meditation teaches us things unattainable from standard education. Knowing about kindness through texts does not necessarily make one kinder, as he sees it. A second form of learning through mindfulness, must be in place to cultivate compassion.
Neuroscience teaches us that these kinds of learning operate through totally different brain circuits. This is an example from research that we did where we randomized people to a group that received compassion training for 2 weeks, another group that received training from cognitive therapy. We see systematic differences after just 7 hours of practice. The changes that are displayed here are changes in a circuit that involve the prefrontal cortex and the ventral striatum, a circuit very important for certain kinds of positive emotions, which gets strengthened after just this short amount of practice. So these and other kinds of data indicate that the brain really can change quite quickly, and with systematic practice, they will endure. We view this as an urgent public health need.
Never before has science affirmed the importance and value of meditation and prayer in such a clear, powerful way. And vice versa, meditation and prayer have made science more inspiring and transformative. Many years ago, due to her profound compassion for the suffering of all beings in the world, Supreme Master Shin Hai, vegan, forsook the comfort of worldly life to embark on a spiritual journey to the Himalayas. She brought back the invaluable gift of the Kuan Yin method of meditation. Master's words about the preciousness of meditation are likely to strike a chord among many neurosciences.
So the only source of happiness is inside. So whenever you meditate, try to get in touch with that source. For your sake, for your own happiness, contentment, satisfaction, you must always try to get in touch with that joyful center, which is inside all of you. That is where the master power is. That's where every miracle in the universe can manifest. That's where all loving kindness is born. That's where all the virtues, beauty, and the truth lay dormant there for you to discover. It is an honor. It is a privilege. It is the best fortune of our life to be able to know such a secret. It is not being forced. It's not a bargain. It's not an obligation. It is the best of all privilege, the best of all luck in thousands, millions of lifetimes that we're being shown easily such a door to liberate ourselves of our miseries.
At this time of uncertainty, let us not forget that we have the treasure of meditation and prayer. Let us meditate and pray for the victims of war, those impacted by climate change, and the countless innocent animal people killed for food due to our ignorance. Let us meditate and pray for a peaceful, loving, and benevolent vegan world. May your days be filled with abundant blessings from heaven for your tender affection and loving care toward God's creation.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/SS.